Dick Gregory is a brilliant comedian, a leading civil and human rights activist, a well-received author, a recording artist, a film and television personality, and a man totally committed to nonviolent social change. He has maintained a steadfast and principled dedication to work toward a more just and humane society, and has courageously taken those actions that he felt were necessary to achieve progress toward this goal. His unflagging sense of justice has led him from Louisiana to Iran, and from Ireland to Detroit, always working for human rights, always for people. Dick Gregory's participation in the civil rights movement of the 1960s is well documented, as are his efforts for world peace, against hunger, and on behalf of American Indians. Once he achieved success in the world of entertainment, Mr. Gregory shifted gears and used his talents to help causes he knew needed help. Mr. Gregory's life has been characterized by hard work, dedication, courage, and unselfish sacrifice. He's here now to add his voice in our fight for the rights of the most helpless of all, infants and children. I'm honored to be able to introduce you to Mr. Dick Gregory.
Say thank you very much. Say I thank and praise God that we have all made it here safely today. And I pray to God that your return and my return will be equally as safe. First, let me just say thanks to those of you who's responsible for putting this together. I mean, my job's very easy. All I have to do is just produce a body. A lot of work went in to make something like this happen. So for those of you who's responsible for that, we say thank you. God bless you. Secondly, let me say to the folks that's responsible for the physical part. Someone picked me up at the airport. Someone have arranged this stage and the seats, and someone will clean up after us when we're gone. And for the next couple of days you'll be here. Invisible people who we won't see most of the time in society, they don't even count. But if they throw a strike, hotels close down, and then they become visible. So for those that's responsible for the physical part of making this happen, we say to them thanks and bless you. Thank you. And lastly, to those of you who decided to put your energy together and make this happen, because had you not decided to put your piece together, the rest of it wouldn't have mattered. So to you and you and you, we say thank you. I just came in from the West Coast this morning, and you know, you keep thinking about perception, and you keep looking for little things. And you say, universe, you know where I'm going. What is this about? And that's all you say, and you just totally tone into the whole universe. And you know, people debate God and go through all them changes, and I've never understood that because, and especially church folks. When I see church folks debating God, that's like a welfare mother telling Rockefeller he broke and he gonna argue with her. You see a billionaire arguing with a welfare mother because she told him he ain't got no money. You damn sure bet you he ain't got no money. And so that whole universal order, I mean, people ask me, say, well, God, what do you mean God? I mean, I don't need to read nothing. I mean, I look at a man's testicles, and just that alone, I knew it was God. I mean, I said, now, suppose I would have had the job of putting the whole body together, and then someone said, all right, where you want to put these testicles? I wouldn't have put them there. I mean, do you realize the genius? I mean, I'm 62 years old. I ain't never sit on them. I never say, okay, I'm coming. I never move them out the way. I mean, I've been in all kind of fights. I've been kicked in some kind of way. I can always. Then I said, got to be God. I mean, I don't know where I would have put them. Under your arms, in your hands. But I mean, I live down the road from Boston, and I had this friend of mine got this fantastic computer at one of the colleges. I'm not going to name the one because it's a big secret, you know. And he says, I need to slip you in at night. You have to see this computer. I mean, it'll be 30 years from now before anybody find out about this computer. And when he talked about this computer, it was like listening to someone talk about God. So he kept saying, when you coming? I said, well, I got this friend I like to bring. And you can see, he says, okay. And he just wanted me to see it because he admired me. And he heard me say some things on television that halfway made him think I knew about the computer. See, the difference between me and a lot of you all here, I have no peers. So I can get on television and say any damn thing I want to say, and if somebody don't like it, so what? Okay? Hear me good now. If I was a lawyer, if I was a medical doctor, if I was a PhD, I couldn't say it. Look, I'm an entertainer. Those are my peers. Don't give a damn about what they think. And I'm a human rights. And they always fall on the right side. That's the great thing about being a true human rights in the struggle. You always, now I'm not talking about those that's just for one issue, and that ain't no problem. I'm talking about all the way across the board. When you see the big picture, you give me a needle so I can't get AIDS, but you're not willing to give me a facility to break the addiction, then you make me think you're putting something in the needle. Okay? That's how it works. Needle costs 10 cents. If I was a drug addict, I'd get on TV and say, keep your needle, give me free dope, I'll get my own needle. Serious? And so when you sit and you look at that, the whole big picture of how it works and how you do it and that inner love. Because what it's really about is about peace. I mean, we can call it any kind of way. Well, and the key to peace is with a smile. That's what we're getting to. And there's been people out there on that front line for so long and held on till we get here. And so when I sit and I think about this whole struggle, and we would like to reduce it down to a bunch of little ignorant folks. And now, please don't make the mistake that African Americans made. We reduced our struggle down to some ignorant redneck Mississippi crackers, and took us 100 years before they found out they run Harvard and Yale and MIT in the Fortune 500s. How ignorant can you be to believe some redneck hillbilly, non-reading, snuff-dipping white man determines policy for America? But it's a cheap cop-out, because if you pick on the little folks, you don't really have to go up to the top of that hill and get to the top of the hill and say, come on, let's do battle jump. So when my friend called me and I said, can I bring my friend? He said, yes. So I got this friend of mine. He's dead now. A wino in Chicago. Can't read or write. So I brought him to MIT. And the guy said, and he was stunned to see Jim. He thought I was bringing a scientist that understood the computer. I was bringing somebody that would help him understand the computer. And he could see him there, and he's saying, like last night, Dr. Carlton Goodley, the black guy owns the Sun Reporter, they had a big affair for him. I had to go out there and speak, and everybody be thinking he's going to die. So I just asked him with 2,000 people in the room, I said, man, will you hurry up and die? I mean, people call me, I got my suit out 6 times. You ain't going nowhere. Why don't y'all leave him alone? And so when you see that the guy was kind of figuring out this wine, or he could look at him and tell he had no business being there. And see, the beautiful thing that when you understand the real God, and I hope I don't insult on y'all talking about God, because the God y'all be something on, I don't deal with ism and osms. And I don't deal with no God that had to be validated by somebody's ignorance. And the God I deal with, I could walk outside now and Queen Elizabeth can be coming in and a wino can be sitting there, and I could ask both of them to pray for me, because the God I deal with, both of them prayers get to my God at the same time, because my God don't have winos nor queens. And so I just broke through all the mess and explained to him why I brought Jim. I said, I brought Jim, where's the machine? And he almost foamed at the mouth. So he said, well, what is, I said, where's the plug? He said, why? I said, Jim, unplug it. She said, wait. I said, I just want you to know that this is my friend. Wino, can't read, can't write, and this fantastic machine you got, I brought a wino in from Chicago that can't read or write to unplug your machine, but your machine can't unplug Jim Sanders. Okay? That's what it's about. That's exactly what it's about. And this movement will splinter, and it'll get so far out there that some of you all will be angry. Because it's easy to say that circumcision, men and women, creates violence, creates hostile activity, but one day somebody will take it to another degree and say killing animals for your dinner puts a hostile in your body that make you do certain things. And then all the meat eaters going, oh yeah, they really get funky there, don't it? And what I like to do when I'm around intelligent folks, and I don't have no hassle with getting intelligent, because I got 10 children that all of them are bright, because I beat the system. I knew the day that you were born. Everything that ever was and ever have been in the history of the planet, you brought it in with you. And all you got to do is learn the secret to tapping into it. And I go to the rallies where poor black folks will be sitting around and people say, repeat after me, I am somebody. And I go along with that, I'm somebody. I go to job rallies where black people want jobs. I want a job. I say, I ain't never want a job. I ain't never had a job and told all 10 of my children, when y'all get out of college, if y'all end up with a job, I'm a failure. Because the powerful white folks that run the world ain't never worked in their life. And if you don't believe it, ask Queen Elizabeth and Prince Charles. And I take one look at both of them and know I'm hipper than them. If they don't work, why I got to work? All they do is just stay there and they're not tired and they keep tricking folks. Diana, Princess Diana. Did y'all see she made news the other day? Come on, raise your hand. Oh, did you see it? She was in the car and a homeless dude was drowning. And they ran up and got her out. You remember that? And she went down. You stupid enough to believe that some wench sitting around in a $16,000 dress is going to get out of a car? But let's get the real deal. The way the IRA is blowing up stuff, you think you can get to the royal family just by running up, tapping their car? What kind of fools are you to fall for a story like that? Hey, if I was governor and you was my wife and somebody was bringing you someplace, a state trooper's bringing you, and if somebody needs emergency, the state trooper would get out the car and go, not you, but they lay that story out. And people buy it. And those are the games they play. And you got to deal with that in the real world, because 81% of everybody's information in America comes off television and radio. You don't read. Comes off television and radio. And people sit around and say, I don't know what's wrong with the young folks. They're not writing like that. Well, you wouldn't either. I'm 62 years old. We didn't have no telephones when I was a little boy. So if I wanted to talk to you, I might write you a letter. So my skills would be enhanced just writing a friend of mine across town. You don't have to write now. So if you take a child born today and just knock out the writing that they would have had 75 years ago, just writing a friend. So it's a whole new world now. A whole new world. And that's the great thing about where you are now, because information, and understand this good, money is not power. Education is not power. Information is power. And if I give you bad information, you got bad power. That's why I went to the bookstore around there. Oh, I bought your stuff. I got $113 worth of your stuff. And let me tell you, that's right. And let me tell you something. You ever see me sitting on television, don't worry about it, because I sit there and look dumb just to trap them in. But I have one of the finest research staffs on this planet. Okay? And I never worried about nobody calling me a fool. You don't believe? Go get my food book. Came out in 1971, and the FDA is just cracking down on people like that. I'm the first one that went public with any power and said on a worldwide level, cow's milk is one of the biggest killers on the planet. Okay? Okay? You clapping, but you should have seen all the people that... You seen the problem I had with my mother when I tried to tell her that Jesus Christ wasn't a Christian, because she was so out of it, she didn't know that Christianity didn't come till after Christ was gone. Try that one. you know, with somebody that's feeding you. Boy, it's hard to try to be bright around someone who's really ignorant when it comes to certain things, but they control dinner. Mommy, I know Good Friday represents the crucifixion of Christ, so if they kill Christ on that day, I'm not going to get into why y'all call it good. But I just want to know if Good Friday represents the crucifixion of Christ, how come one year it comes in March and another year it comes in April? Now, you know, I know you're kind of dumb, Mom, but you know you can't be killed in 2 different months. I mean, even if I let you slide the day around, not the month. Killed on Friday, took him 3 days to rise. Count on your fingers. That's Monday every time. And the reason I'm taking your time, if something that stupid have threw everybody off, get ready to do battle for your issue. You really want to see contradictions? The Mardi Gras. You ever been to Mardi Gras? Oh, you got to go. I tell people, go to Mardi Gras. It's the biggest Christian festivity in the Western world. And every year they have it in New Orleans. New Orleans is known as Sin City. The Christians don't go to change it, but to be part of it. It's the only Christian festivity in the world where whores come in from all over the world to help them celebrate. You ready for this? It's the only time of the year that a New Orleans cop can't take office during Mardi Gras. The Christians is coming. And then Fat Tuesday, they'll eat anything moving. And then Ash Wednesday, they'll hit their head with an ash and then go fake a prayer for 40 days. And that's why I never go to my Baptist church on Easter Sunday. I just don't want to sit there and listen at them Christians singing, "Were you there when they crucified the Lord?" That's such a cheap song to sing 2,000 years later. You wasn't there then, and chances are you wouldn't be there now. I mean, think about this. I just take this route so y'all will be ready for your battle. Think about this. This is the biggest Christian society, America, on the planet. And we have capital punishment. I mean, think about that, especially you Christians. Can you imagine we cry every Easter over the crucifixion of Christ? And we too out of it and dumb and ignorant and unspiritual to realize that Christ died because the state had capital punishment. Christ wasn't killed by a mugger or run down by a drunken chariot driver. Christ was killed by the state. What does that mean? That means if Jesus Christ came back to America today and bugged the wrong people, they would give Jesus the electric chair. Then all of us be walking around with big chairs around our neck. And the Romans, you just kind of follow me here. I'm not going to mark this. The Romans, they are so, I mean, you talk about, connivers of filth. They said, how are we going to kill them? They said, let's take them out the same way we bring them in. So when they built the jail to rehabilitate people, it was a dungeon, damp, leaky, and wet. It was a woman's vagina. They said that we can back them back into this womb. But they left one thing out, the heartbeat. And that's why the military didn't leave the heartbeat out, because all cadence is his heartbeat. That's why if I took y'all in the first 6 rows and we got in a straight line and started marching, any suspension bridge, we'd walk over on this planet. Y'all know what would happen on it? It would snap. Because there's no beat no more powerful than the heartbeat. So the military puts that cadence in, which is the heartbeat. And here I run in, a 19-year-old sissy, I can't fight, I can't do nothing. And after being in the army for 6 weeks, I'm ready to go kill somebody because they gave me that heartbeat and took me right back to my mother's womb and remade me as a killer. See, the real people that run and manipulate the world, they know it all. And all this bullshit y'all be going through these cows, that's crap. And when I sent my son, my baby son, to the best high school in America, cost me $25,000 a year. when Harvard was just costing 22, and I said, the school ain't no good, son. 6 of your other little sisters qualified to go there, but they was a little flaky. But we're going to watch you. I said, well, what do you mean that? Well, first, they got football. Anybody stupid enough to have contact sport? The super rich, go and look where Prince Charles and the real people go to school. There are no contact sports. If you have homework, only fools do homework. And after my son was there, he said, Dad, you know, the rich folks coming in from Europe, the biggest horror they have is they never had homework. I said, I told you, son. And you don't flunk real people's children. If you're a cancer specialist and you look at me and say, I think you got cancer, because you come with a background. If you just somebody just typing and doing that, I don't care about what you say. So when a teacher whose job it is, who's a professional, flunk a little child, you've scarred that child for the rest of your life. And that's where I live. I live around some super rich white folks. I say, come on, children, I'm going to show y'all something. And I moved 48 miles outside of Boston. My neighbors, Steinway, piano folks. Up on the hill, Ocean Spray, Cranberry folks. So they go to schools where they can't flunk you. Plus at 6 and 7 years old, while y'all going to them little strazy poor folk camps, they going to SAT camps. And then they come home with a list one day, 137 books that you have to read, because the vocabulary on the SAT comes out of 137 books, and they list the books and the exact words. How many? And Lord of the Flies, 49 words come out of that book on the SAT camp that's not in no other book on the planet. Okay, they don't play fair. So if you go there and you see a Coke machine, son, you know you're around fools, because one soda pop makes your bloodstream 10,000 times more acid than the universal God meant for it to be. It's the games they play. It's the games they play. But it's the best thing. When he went there, that school had produced 12 presidents. Since he's been there, Bush become president. I mean, that alone is enough to know, watch this school. At one time, 85% of the Fortune 500 board of directors that came out that school, and it's a heathen school, it's no good. That's the games that they play. And I never forget what I told my children, they had to all go to black colleges. Oh, you talk about some black folk acting a fool. What do you mean? You're not going to understand. They've been around white folks all their life. They've been to the best schools in life, all of them brilliant. My oldest daughter, if she didn't have 2 doctor's degrees from London School of Economics, she'd have been in a mental hospital. Why we have to go to black colleges? Before I could explain it, they was holding a meeting on me. Upset my wife. She said, they back there holding a meeting on you. What we gonna do? I said, what we gonna do? I mean, you sound like they have jobs. The Dick Gregory Fund is me. She said, but okay. So I was, and she was wondering, and she see me looking for this document. She said, what's that? I said, I'm gonna go to their meeting. I said, you go down and copy and run me 10 of these off. So I went and passed all 10 to them. I said, y'all got a problem with me. That's the deed to the house. Y'all check it out and see if y'all see y'all's name on it. My wife said, I don't believe you said that. You check it out and see if you see your name on it. And so in the human rights struggle, and in this movement, y'all, you can go around the world and meet folks being part of a human rights struggle that you could never meet if you was a king or a queen, because that don't determine your integrity. I mean, I've met true, brilliant geniuses, ethical, honest folks. And I met my children, they said, well, Dad, now they tell me, glad you sent us to black colleges. Okay. So my white friends who know me well say, well, why'd you do it? If you did it, I know it's right. Because we African American adults, you ready for this? I'll give you 2 stats. More cops die every day in America from suicide than killed in the line of duty. But don't nobody give a damn about a cop, so nobody invests money to see what goes through their mind with this horrible job that makes them do that. Okay? And this other one is the highest amount of suicide among adults in America is black folks. We black adults commit more suicide than anybody else. Now, you ready for this? 93% of all black adult suicides in America went to white colleges. What a hell of an indictment of Harvard and Yale and your MITs. Well, figure it out. How in the hell can Harvard and Yale be preparing me for life when the number one problem I'm going to be confronted with is this blackness, and they don't give me one course on how to deal with racism 101. I know y'all sitting there say, there he go again. Let's get in the real world. If that damn suicide doctor in Michigan was as black as me, he'd have been in jail when he killed that first old white woman. He'd have been in the electric chair. And if y'all ain't understanding that, then you really out of it. No black person in this country will be permitted to kill old white folks like that white boy is. That's the real world. Okay? That's the real world. You know something else? I raised 10 children without a television in my house. That's the real world. And I swear to you, at that time, I didn't realize that there'd come a day in America that a 16-year-old child with a television at 16 have witnessed 32,000 homicides and 200,000 acts of violence. You think you ain't seen nothing yet. Let me tell you, you talk about some fertile land, you talk about our and the farmers and the wheat. No, the most fertile area God ever put on this planet is your mind garden. If you think I can give y'all one orange seed today to go to Florida and plant it in some fertile land, in the first 5 years ain't nothing gonna happen. About 8 years, that tree spring up and them oranges keep coming and keep coming and keep coming from one seed. What do you think happened when you plant 32,000 seeds of homicide and 200,000 seeds of violence? What do you think they're gonna give you one day? Okay? Okay? And somewhere, you might be that army. Yep. So my baby boy is so bright and so cool. I say, son, I want to play a little game with you. I want to make believe that you are president of every college and university in the whole world. You're head of every major billion-dollar corporation in the whole world. You control the Chinese army, the Russian army, the American army, the KGB, the CIA, the FBI, British intelligence, and I just want one assignment. Make me a scab. A scab. Not a rocket to go to outer space, not a bomb to destroy whole towns, just a simple scab that a non-reading ghetto welfare mother, a hillbilly white woman automatically makes. But with all your power and all your intellect and all your might, you can't make a scab. I got shot in Watson, 1965, and I get up every morning, I look at this scar, and I remember before it was a scar, it was a scab. And the interesting thing about a scab, I don't care how white you are, the scab is always darker than you. And I don't care how black you are, the scab is always blacker than you. And all that scab is just the universal God force is saying, my child, underneath my bandage, my healing is taking place. Just don't pull it off. And you can tell when my healing is complete because my scab turns into my scar. So your job right now is to go out in the highways and the byway and just say, don't pull the scab off. And if you do it right, then one day this issue we're talking about will be the real scar. and that means our job is complete. And don't make mistakes with ego. There's a universal God that says, all I want you to do as my child and my servant is to plant the seed. I, the Almighty One, determines when harvest time, because that little seed you planted, that wasn't but a piece of it. It's my wind and my rain and my dew and my 3 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the morning and my 12 noon that made that crop grow, not you. I and only I will determine harvest time. And so I think about, when I think about the crucifixion, think about them Romans. They said, how we going to kill them? They said, let's put them on a cross. And everybody said, a cross. But look, next time you look at the Christian cross, you know what you need to do? You need to get a Christian cross and a red cross. And you notice the red cross is crossed at the center. You ever notice that? And the Christian cross is crossed up here. Why? They're no dirty Romans. The cross is nothing more but the male penis. It comes up here, and what you call a crossbar is my stomach, and the part that protrudes back in is the rest of it. That's what that's about. That's what they did. And all these old Christians walking around wearing this thing around their neck. And the more Christian they are, the bigger it is. So I'm sitting on the plane today, trying to get my message from the Cosmo, and it works. I got on a plane this morning at 7 o'clock. The San Francisco Examiner. What's that? Just turn around. Just the one that. Let me see. Just say it loud so they can hear you.
Saturday, May 21st.
What papers? Where's it from?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. And what's the name of the paper?
San Francisco Chronicle.
Okay. What's the date on that?
Saturday, May 21st.
Now, I'm on the plane coming here to you all, right? Oh, wait, no. You okay? Yeah. Okay. Been circumcised? Yeah. Okay, then I expect you to stand tall. Now, I'm on the plane coming here to talk to you. What's the front page story? Right there.
Jackie Onassis to be...
No. Front page.
Suit filed against penile implant maker.
You believe I'm coming here to talk to you, and the biggest story on the front page is they suing the penis implant maker. I say, God, I guess I'm going to the right place. I mean, can you imagine the odds? What's that say there?
Penile implant maker sued.
I mean, can you imagine? Out of all the days of this suit to hit is the day before y'all fixing to start your... Speaking of penises, when Babbitt cut her old man's penis off, did you see the straight news trying to report the story without saying penis? NBC Nightly Report. We have a major story that's breaking. No, you have a major story that's cut. And see, the problem I had with that story is I followed the news. And CNN was like, I mean, I go to a hotel, I keep the news on all night. I don't know more. Because I should have known that listening to the news while you sleep, it gets into your subconscious. And you know what it's like when you're laying there in bed, sleep, and something hits your subconscious, say, penis gone. I leaped up and hollered, oh my God, and I realized it was TV. So I went back to bed and didn't cut it off. And then I woke up with a smile on my face because they were saying the knife was 12 inches, but I didn't hear. And ladies, don't think we men haven't been affected by that story. Yeah. Notice how many of us are sleeping on our stomachs now? And fellas, when the first, they had two cases, two trials. The first one, they was prosecuting him, and he won that. Y'all followed that, right? But I don't know if that's good for us men, because he said she cut my penis off because I didn't satisfy her. Did y'all follow that? And she said that she cut his penis off because he raped her. Y'all remember that, don't you? Well, you know he won, right? So you know how much pressure that put on us, don't you? I mean, theoretically what it means is that she cut it off because he didn't satisfy her. That's the official. So after that happened, I called my wife. I've been married 35 years. I just said, just checking in, just make sure you're happy. And I want to review, I want to review the last 35 years. And, but it really had an effect on me. Matter of fact, I went home and announced to my wife that there'd be no knives in our house no larger than that one. And then she said, why you think I need one that large with you? God, I told you right, dear, you right, yeah. Yeah, you're right. She did that to me. It wouldn't be nothing but a non-jailable misdemeanor. And then it's interesting how people take issues. Yeah, a lot of men sided with him, a lot of women sided. You know what's the story? I mean, she cut his penis off, got in the car, went about 5.5 miles and pitched it out the window. Now think about it. Men siding with men, women siding with women. I mean, do anybody have any compassion for the 2 cops that had to go out there and get it? I mean, imagine what went through their mind when that call came through. Somewhere. The contradictions. It's just so amazing. It's incredible. The contradictions. Oh, everybody upset about somebody going to get caned in Singapore. I think that's the Singapore's fault. I said, I called them up to just call it a whooping. Nobody cares. Shit. And I don't know how bad it hurt that little boy, but he better be glad it wasn't my grandmother. I mean, she'd whoop you and quote something out the Bible and be talking to the neighbor down the street at the same time. But the contradictions, I mean, here's a contradiction. We live in a Christian society. You can't pray in a public school. And I really don't have no problem with that. I went through grade school, high school, college, public schools. And they didn't have no law when I went through school saying you can't pray, and we never prayed. Man, it's funny how stupid it is. Once somebody say you can't, then you say, well, I want to. I'm telling you. I mean, I lived in this country all my life. I went to grade school, high school, and college. We never prayed. We did the Pledge of Allegiance. America the beautiful, but nobody prayed. And those handful of evil manipulators, they know where you're coming from. So we have schools you can't pray in. I don't have no problem with that. The problem is, but you can name that same school after the devil, can be the mascot. Yeah. This is Alexander High School, public school, Red Devil. And Christians don't have no problem with that. The children come home with a football helmet and a sweatshirt with a devil with a pitchfork. And they go to the game on Friday, pulling for the devil. Go you devils. But they couldn't name the school, the Alexander High School, Green Jesus. That interesting? The contradictions. President Clinton gets in the White House. And all you got to do once you start looking at those contradictions. I mean, Dick Nixon dead, and then last week they released the Haldeman tapes. Did y'all follow that? Tapes is crap. Say, well, we're gonna really mess him up. He called Jews satanic. Him and Billy Graham. I don't know what Billy Graham doing now. But you know what's wrong with those tapes? Go back and read the paper if you still got it. The part where they was talking about black folks. In 1967, he said these blacks, they didn't use the word black in 1967. They either said Negro or nigger. Okay? So you telling me those tapes are authentic? All right? So I say if he said nigger and you change it, then how come you didn't change satanic? Okay? That's what the game is about. A bunch of evil old men with power, but they have no spirituality, and all you got to do is clean your thing up and tune into your spiritual thing, and you go right through them. Nelson Mandela proved it. He came out of jail. We, all over the world, would have accepted him any kind of way. After 27 years, we accepted him broken down, bitter, evil. He came out and showed love, what love was about. That was the game. Invited his jailers to the inauguration. That's what the game is about. Somewhere, when you stop and look at the contradictions, dope is illegal in America. Cigarettes and cigars is legal. Because we don't like Castro, we take legal cigars, and you can't get a Cuban cigar in America, but cigars is legal, but you can get all the dope you want and it's illegal. How long are these evil old men going to keep you boxed up? They got a satellite up there, and they had big news one day. This satellite had located some dinosaur doo-doo. I said, wow, 120 million years ago, a dinosaur crapped. And 120 million years later, we got a satellite that can pick it up, and we should have all went to Washington, D.C. and said, we want that same satellite that can find some 120 million-year-old dinosaur doo-doo to find fresh-cut poppy seeds and fresh-cut marijuana or close it down. It's games they play. Games. I mean, I see the President of the United States, the first 6 months, the whole debate is, will there be gays in the military? And I used to drink a fifth of scotch every day. I thank God I don't drink no more because I would have swore I was drunk. I mean, if I had turned on TV and talking about there'll be no gays in the military, and when I was in the military there was gays then, I'd have thought I had a nervous breakdown. And that was, I mean, serious debate. The President said, we will have gays in the military. And Sam Nunn said, we will not have gays in the military. So I said, well, I mean, have I died and gone to another planet? Never forget in 1954, and I'm not going to lie to you, I got drafted kicking and screaming. I mean, they came out and put the handcuffs on me. Yeah. I learned a lot now. I told my children that if you get drafted, don't get into this conscientious objector, all that old crap. Just go, when you go to the military, they give you an application to fill out. Just put murderer. Isn't that funny? They would never draft a murderer into the military to teach you how to kill folks. You stinking criminal, you're unfit for military duty. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. So they handcuff me, because every time they send me out and they say, Uncle Sam want a few good men. I take them through the neighborhood and show them where they live. There's Ralph's over there and Billy Boy's over there. One day they came and got me and said, oh, okay, you got me, okay. And I'm sitting there, and I see that time when I got into the army was still segregated, and I see them marching these 35 white boys. And they was gun hole. They looked like they couldn't wait to get in. So about 20 minutes later, I look over at them 35 white boys, they crying. And so I guess my slave genes must have perked up, because I went over there and I said to myself, now, what's wrong with my white folks? So I went over and said, why y'all crying? I said, we crying because they won't let us in the military. I said, what? They won't let you where? They won't let us in the military. I said, why? Is it because we're homosexual? I said, what do you mean? If you're homosexual, you can't get in? He said, yeah. I said, well, how did they know? I said, we told them. I mean, they take your word for it? I mean, they don't have to catch you doing nothing? I mean, no FBI reports? I mean, you just walked in here today and said you are homosexual, and who'd you tell it to? The captain, the white one. Okay. So what you want? I just want you to know I'm gay, I'm a faggot, I'm a fruit, I'm a queen, I'm a sister. He looked at me and kissed me in the mouth and said, come on in here with the rest of us. And then sometime they'll make you think you're making progress and you have to question it. I mean, I think about 62 years old, they used to be Negro History Week. Any of y'all remember when we used to be Negro History Week? Now it's Black Month. Check that out. We're going from a week to a month. But wouldn't you know that when they get ready to give us a month, be that month of February and all them days missing? I mean, I never expected them to give us a 31-dayer, you know what I mean? But I was stunned over February. Because most African-American blacks I know, not only do we not like February, we don't even understand it. I mean, what's a groundhog? On Groundhog Day, if the groundhog sees his shadow, 6 more weeks of winter, and I tell that to somebody living in San Diego. Do you all follow Groundhog Day enough to know that it's this groundhog in Pennsylvania? Yes. And do you know that the cameras, television cameras come in from all over the world the night before? You ever been around television cameras with them lights? It's impossible for the groundhog not to see a shadow. I mean, this past February the 2nd, I was in New York City doing this show, and a white dude said to me, he says, Mr. Gregory, today's Groundhog Day. What do you think will happen if the groundhog sees his shadow? I said, hey, man, I don't play that old groundhog stuff. Back up, chump, get off. He said, well, wait a minute, you anti-American, anti-social? What do you mean? I said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were going to take it like that. You feel that way about it? Ask me again, I'll play it. Say, today's Groundhog Day. What do you think will happen if the groundhog sees his shadow, boy? I said, 6 more weeks of winter, sir. I said, but since we're going to play it, let's keep on playing. Suppose the groundhog come out today and don't see a shadow, but see 5 black dudes. Do you know what that means? He got nervous. He said, no, what did it mean? I said, 6 more weeks of basketball, chump. The contradictions. Columbus discovered America. That was the biggest contradiction. I said, oh my God, if I could just get into a white school and read the books they read, and I know they got the truth, and we finally integrated the schools, and I got to go to school with you, and they tell you the same lie they tell me, Columbus discovered America. You know that punk got lost. I mean, will it come a day that someone have enough integrity to stand up and say, where was the Indians when that boy got here? How can you discover a country that was already occupied? I mean, forget the Indians, it's personal. If you can discover a country that's already occupied, I can go out on the parking lot today and discover your car with you in it. Shut up and get in the back and teach me Thanksgiving. Damn, Indians is savages. Mommy, how come they call Indians savages? Because they killed the white settlers. Oh, I ain't going to ask you nothing. White folks, how come white folks call the Indians savages? Because they killed the white settlers. I wonder what would happen if all my white friends, when they got back to the suburbs tonight, saw some strange niggas sitting in their house looking like me talking about we settling. It's called breaking an entry. And that's a criminal act. How long? The contradictions. How do you get around it? Information, questions. I have the Bohemian died, big company, a lot of white folk work for me. I say the white folks ask questions all the time. I'm going to ask you questions, and I keep asking white folk why it is when I was born I was black, when I grew up I was black, when I get sick I'm black, when I go out and lay in the sun all week I'm black, and when I die I'm black. Now look at white folks. You're born pink, you grow up you turn white, you get sick you turn green, you lay in the sun all week you turn red, you get cold in the wintertime you turn blue, you die you turn purple, and you all want to call me colored. And so I say to those of you that's here for this conference, y'all got a big job. Big job. Well, it should be an easy job, because it shouldn't be a hard job to tell somebody don't let nobody take something as private and personal as your penis or your vagina and clip it. So when the letter came to the house that I was speaking here, because I think my wife handled it, didn't she? And said, circumcision, why me? Oh, my name, Dick. Y'all don't do nothing else right this week. You zeroed in on this one. And ladies, men, we've been reduced down to getting our manhood from our penis. So that's why men want to sit around talking about the size of it. And they be lying. Say, my penis itch, man. How you scratch it? I got to go pee. Well, how come you sit down when you pee? Well, I hurt my back. Doctor told me don't lift nothing heavy. That's that whole stupid men's psychology thing. Let me tell you, it sounds funny, but that's what you got to get through. That whole craziness. We got to make some sacrifices. When I decided to try to aim a message out there at Americans, but particularly black folks when it came to health, I had to face the real world. I know how white racist systems have affected black folks. Want to hear something funny? Did y'all see me on television with all them fat white folks on 60 Minutes? You know what happened when I did that? My sales increased in the black community by 70%. That's how racism have affected black folks. If white folks say it's okay, it must be good. Okay? Okay? I know that if my grandmother, who loved me, saw me sitting on TV with a white doctor of nutrition from Harvard University and told me to shut up, you don't know what you're talking about, my grandmother would have believed it. So I had to protect her. So what did I do? Right before I got ready to make the big splash into health, on April the 21st, 1976, I'll never forget it, because nothing in my life that I ever know could be so painful. I went to Los Angeles and ran from Los Angeles, California to New York City, averaged 50 miles a day on a fast, taking nothing but a new nutrition formula that I had put together 10 days after I had broke my toe. So when I sit down with that white professor, doctor of nutrition from Harvard University, and he says that, and I say, shut up until you're willing to run 50 miles a day without eating any solid food, you don't know nothing about nutrition, and my grandmother would understand that. Okay? Because remember, when you come out and deal with poor folks, they have a different mentality than people with education and people with money. Poor folks think in terms of instant gratification, and they like stunts. And I remember when I was a little bitty boy born on welfare, and I don't know why so many people white folks had to hang up with welfare so long, even black folks. Now, I keep telling black folks, how can you be against free money? Well, my mother was like, I'll be glad when we get off welfare. I said, Mom, you ain't on welfare, we are. That check says aid to dependent children. That's for us. You the administrator of that check. You got an executive position and don't even appreciate it. And I tell all black and white welfare mothers, if y'all feel bad about the money, why don't y'all move to Canada and tell them to mail you that check and call it foreign aid? We so stupid, that seems to be all right. You want to look at the real welfare recipient? Here I am. I have a corporation. I can go get a prostitute tonight and take her all the way around the world. And as long as I got enough sense to call her my secretary, it's a tax write-off. Okay, all right. 93% of everybody ride first class on planes wouldn't be there if they couldn't write that off on the expensive class. These restaurants are so expensive that most of y'all couldn't even eat in. They'd close down in the morning if those wasn't tax write-offs. 100%. Okay. But you ain't gonna mess with them, because when you start messing with the Henry Fords and the Mellon, they will wipe you out. Okay? 60 Minutes reported that the CIA brought a ton of cocaine in and put it in the streets in the Black Ghetto, and not one newspaper. Matter of fact, they just won a Peabody Prize last week. Nobody touched it, because one good thing about you America, you know who you can mess with and you know who you can't. You walk around and you tell yourself you're free. That's a cheap shot. You're free as long as you don't try to really get down. How many of y'all in this room is aware of the fact that, what's your name, brother? If James, I want to make you an alcoholic for a minute, okay? And I'm going to be a drug addict, right? How many of y'all in this room is aware of the fact that he's an alcoholic and I'm a drug addict, that all we got to do is go report it to the right government agent and call it a handicap, and they have to send us a check every month? How many of y'all know that? Okay? All right? To the tune of about $22 million a year. While y'all mad at welfare mothers, any drug addict, all they got to do is go and report it as a handicap, and your tax money kicks in. Come on, are you crazy? A nasty, stinking country that bring the dope in and then also give you the money, because American, powerful, evil old thugs that run it know one thing, that if I could just get y'all sober for 3 days, you would bring this country to its knees, because you wouldn't tolerate sober what you tolerate under the influence. Okay? I'm talking about them chocolates you eat with that caffeine. I'm talking about that coffee. And the next time y'all laugh at some drug addict, see if you can go 6 days without drinking coffee and see if you'll laugh then, okay? You ready for this? I live in Massachusetts, so what I'm fixing to say now is on tape. And what I'm saying, if it's not true, I can go to jail, because there's a federal law that says when you cross state lines and deliberately lie on a product that deals in interstate commerce. So let me tell you what I'm going to tell you. There's more stomach cancer caused every day in America from drinking coffee than lung cancer from smoking cigarettes, okay? And they won't even let that report out, okay? All right, that's the games they play.
How about Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola is the same thing. Matter of fact, the real proof that Congress and the cigarette industry is playing games, I know if I know, and I don't have the type of research team that the damn Congress and the Senate have, they put opium in the cigarette paper, and nobody's touched that with all them hearings, okay? Okay? So y'all that's hooked to cigarettes, you should have been insulted. See, I used to be hooked to 4 packs of cigarettes a day. And to hear them thugs sit there and say cigarettes ain't addictive. Matter of fact, if I still smoked, I would have enough integrity not to let you see me doing something that stupid. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, we know smoking causes cancer. Damn, secondary smoke, I don't care about you dying. I don't care about me. No, I don't care about you. But I wouldn't let you see me doing nothing that stupid. Matter of fact, if I still smoke now, I would buy my stuff at the drugstore where drugs is sold. Walk in the drugstore and say, give me a nickel bag of Marlboros. And even my close friends that know I smoke, you wouldn't see me. I'll see y'all in a minute. Where you going? I got to make a little run. I'll be right back. Oh, we know you going to smoke. That's okay. I would be more discreet about you seeing me smoking than jacking off. Hey, do jacking off cause cancer? Do you pay a tax on it? And jacking off is free, right? But I'll take out a cigarette and let you see me do something that stupid and don't know when I see you do that, that tells me how this system has reduced you down to something that even when you do it, you don't even have shame about. A group of powerful men reducing you down to hook to something. That's what addiction's about. And so when you're out here dealing with uneducated folks, with poor folks that believe getting circumcised is godly. You got my intellectual Jews on this end getting circumcised, and you got poor black folks over here, 4th grade dropouts getting circumcised. Say, God, how do you ever get them two groups together to come together on anything? I say to my wife, if you ever come home and catch me in bed with your sister or the dog or the cat and you get mad, just one thing don't do. Don't call Chicago Housing Project and talk to one of them poor black uneducated ghetto sisters and say, I just caught my husband and buried my sister. And they killed them because all poor folk think in terms of instant gratification. If you get mad at me, dear, call someone in our income bracket. Call Bill Cosby's house and talk to his wife. She says, oh, Lydia, I'm so sorry. Let us send our private jet to get you. And they'll fly in and get her, and they'll bring her back to their mansion, and she'll go see their psychiatrist, and my old lady write a check for $4,200 and give it to the psychiatrist, and he'll give her a prescription, and she'll go get dope, and she'll come home and be happy ever after. She didn't pray. She didn't go to God. She didn't get the Spirit in her. But a poor little black welfare mother in Chicago catch her husband doing the same thing and go out and buy $5 worth of crack. We outraged. Both of them did the same thing. The system fixed it where one is legal and legitimate and the other one is not. Come on. I was 15 years old when I got circumcised. My mother was so sickly. I mean, my mother, and when she finally died, they couldn't list all the stuff on the autopsy. So when I got home, she'd listen to somebody on the radio, because we didn't have television then, saying, VD's running rampant, and the only way you stop it is circumcision. And that white dude convinced her that her boy had to be circumcised. So when I came home, my mother said, I've been waiting for you. We got to go to the hospital. She's so sick, I thought it was her. I said, oh, Mom, I'm sorry I took so long. So I'm walking to the hospital thinking I'm taking her. I go in there, and the doctor walked up and said, Richard? I said, yeah. He says, well, sit on the table. Took my pants down, bring me this little sheet with a hole in it. My mother standing there, and I'm looking at her. Said, we're going to circumcise you. Yes, Richard, we're going to circumcise you, so you cannot have no venereal disease. I've never had no venereal disease. Matter of fact, to be honest, I never got claps till after I got circumcised. And I sit there, and the doctor kind of put some little stuff around it, and then he thumped it. Do you feel anything? Then he kind of pushed it back and took the scissors and bloop, and blood splashed on him and my mama. And something said, you ought to whoop both of them right now. 15 years old. They wasn't through. Now, ladies, you might not understand this. When you have a penis, when you get scared or you get nervous, it just shrinks up. I mean, every time you threaten it, just go away. I mean, it's like a little turtle putting his head in. So when the dude cut me, the little thing just shrunk up. And they so stupid, they wait till they get it smallest, then stitch the gauze in it. Not knowing that, or not caring that 3 hours later it's going to start perking back up, but it's already, and boy, was that pain trying to, and we was walking home. I mean, they sent me home that day. Oh, boy, it hurt so bad that night. Doc said in about 3 days, come back, I'll look at it, and in about 3 weeks we'll take the stitches out. I ain't been back. I haven't been back. See, back then, poor black folks, they said you can cure anything with a warm cup of hot water and salt. So I got me a cup of hot water and salt, put my penis in it, and took them stitches out. That's why I don't drink nothing out of cups now. And then somewhere, it just dawned on me. I didn't read anything. I didn't know you all were even out here. I just knew that there is no God in the planet stupid enough to put this whole universe together and make a mistake and put something on me that somebody need to cut off. It's a simple balance. Simple balance. Simple balance. Simple balance. Well, who are you? Well, let me tell you who I am. Because in explaining me, I'll explain you. How did I get here? Not through no immaculate conception. My old man took his penis and stuck it in my mother's vagina. And when he ejaculated, 500 million sperms come out. And the one responsible for me outran 500 million sperms and got there first. That's who I am. That's who I am. Wasn't no one sperm that came out and just slowly strolled up the fallopian tubes. That dude responsible for me hit that deck running. And anytime I'm the final one out of 500 million, I am something special. Right. How long? And so I decided that I would not have none of my sons circumcised. Decided that. Hadn't read nothing. Just decided it. Just spiritually. But I made a mistake. I didn't know one day I'd make big bucks. Millions. And when my first son was born, we had all the insurances in place. I got home, got to the hospital. He's circumcised. I said to my wife, she says, so then we found out at the University of Chicago, your insurance is so good that if you don't say don't, they will. So I said, well, no more. And I had 2 other sons that haven't been. And if you want to know scientifically what circumcision do, just come and look at my 3 boys, and you can pick out that one without me telling you who he is. The aggression, the hostility. Just as sweet and kind and peaceful, but he's not like the rest of them. And unbeknown to him, I've been working on him this year, that's been my project. I just took him out of school and sent him home and let him stumble over books, and he keeps stumbling over things, and he calls me excited. He said, Dad, he's been pumping iron and all that kind of stuff. And now he's out of all of that now. And he understands that whole human side. And then one day, I got hold of some serious information. I found out that cultures on the planet, where there's haircuts in the culture, the women outlive the men. Where there's no haircuts in the planet, in the culture, men and women live to get the same age. And there was a doctor out of Cleveland that carried that to the American Medical Association in Cleveland in Miami in 1935, and they ran him out to convention. Not poor, uneducated people. A bunch of educated fools. And that's the worst group to deal with. One of those ones out there that do them just like race horses. Put them blinders around your eyes. And even we live in a country that we are more afraid of math than crack. You tell the children, just go ahead and get it your first year and it's over with. Nobody's ever told you to smoke reefers and get it over with. Because what this doctor found out, and my life has changed since I looked at the research, that your hair is to your body what a leaf is to a tree, and that whole process of photosynthesis. And they didn't understand that. Thank God I found it, and whoever the little dude is, thank you, because I raised 3 boys with no haircuts. And let me tell you, it's a difference. People would say, oh, that's a pretty little girl. Because we get haircuts and stuff to enhance my manhood. No. And what you got on, or what your hair looks like, or what you talk, that don't determine you a man or not. That was determined before you got here. And I've been blessed because I got 10 children out here, 1994, that don't even drink soda pop. I won out on that one. That's right. And so I thank you all. I thank you for changing this whole circumcision into a human rights issue, because you get a whole lot of people's attention with that word on it. But also understand it's a slow process. You know why my children or your children call you mommy, call you daddy? Not because you mommy or daddy. They don't know what that is. They just keep calling and keep calling. I went home one day and my little girl was calling the broom daddy. And then one day she called me daddy. She seen me respond. Oh, that's it. She keeps hearing it over, then over and over. It's a repetition. That's why everybody buy Coca-Cola, because they keep doing it over and over and over. And that's why it's hard to get legitimate issues through, because they don't let you get on TV or radio and keep saying it over and over and over and over and over. But it's easy now, because with all the cable services coming out, I look forward to one day soon to have the no circumcision cable. Sounds funny, but think about how important that would be. Oh, because one thing about people, when you tell them about their little children, they love their little children. They don't start out to do, you don't get children circumcised because you don't like them. I might get yours, but not mine. All right? But the information have to be there, and information have to be there. And I never will forget, one day I'm sitting in a hotel watching television, and of all the places, Northwestern University, they were talking about circumcision. And I couldn't believe I was hearing what they were saying. They said, you know, for years, people thought that if you circumcise a child at birth, there's no pain. And you know what they did? They hooked this little newborn child up with an electronic system, and they showed you the screen where there's energy, and they clipped it, and that damn needle jumped off the screen. And that's the type of information you have to show people. What they didn't tell us is, what effect do it have in that subconscious mind consciousness, that pain? That's why I never raised my hand at a child of mine. Didn't let my wife hit none of them. You don't hit none of these children. The Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child. That's a story about a shepherd boy. That rod is that little stick that the shepherd boy carry, and all it means is when the sheep get too close to the ledge, you just hold it out. That's not even a story about whooping a damn sheep. And y'all can play all them games with, oh, you got to, well, let me tell you something, especially you women, 98% of everybody in old folks' home, your children put you there, okay? Okay? You call yourself spanking something, no, you spanking, that thing didn't come from you, it came through you with an intelligence far surpassed anything that you could apprehend it had. And when you strike it, there's a box that must go to. So I'll get you one day. And so, I don't know, what happens when you clip it? What happens up there? One day we're going to have to go into the jails and the penitentiary and look at them Charlie Man, look at them Stone Cold and see if they circumcised. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to take the boys and the girls that have problems in school and see if they circumcised. See, the ones whose immune system is broken down. It might not be, but we got to explore that. Because the chances are that it is more so than it's not. How long? Y'all got a big job? Hard job. You got this poor group over here that's been told that it's just so, Jesus Christ, you just have to have it. And then it becomes a status symbol. To not be circumcised when I was growing up was a mark of ignorance. Personal hygienes. Oh, God, why you cut it? Personal, no. I swear to you, I'll buy one of them hoses that the firemen use, and I'll wash it down every day. Just leave my skin alone. Because the next thing, you take it off my eyeballs. Then one day, y'all got to ask a serious question. What do they do with that skin? So everybody talking about abortions, and they got the big hassle going on. But out of all of the hassle going on about abortions, not one newspaper, television have ever said what happened to that stuff that comes out of you. Who picks that up, and what do they do with it? And are they taking it to some lab somewhere and making Frankensteins? How long? Somewhere. Y'all got a big job. Then after that, they came after my tonsils. And if you, when I was a little boy, if you still had your tonsils, represent you was poor. Tonsils. And they talk about adenoids, everything. And now it's a money thing. Over 1 million women have C-sections that don't need them. Hey, we ain't talking about some little thug hoodlums in the ghetto, 4th grade dropout. We talking about doctors have gone to the best medical schools in the world. But because they got that degree, it's okay. How long? And one of the things we do, we got to get people to start talking about their bodies. Oh, men have automobile accidents, and when they wake up, they can circumcise them. We're complaining about that now, but think about all the women that when they woke up out of automobile accidents, they gave them hysterectomies. See, they never stop. How long? Got a big job. Somewhere, when we start having respect for the body, I can't button up my seatbelt or wrinkle up my suit. You think going through that plate glass window won't wrinkle your outfit? Let me tell you what kind of job you got. You know all the millions of people that don't button up? But if they found out in the morning buttoning their seatbelt would give them 5 more miles to the gallon, they'd buckle up. Now, as funny as that is, think about that, because that's scary. You know how many people that don't give a damn about smoking, but if they found out smoking in the automobile would corrode their engine, it'd be no more smoking in the car. Dig what these evil old men have reduced us down to. Okay? And now we got to bring that whole human spiritual thing back up. Yeah. And what makes the job partly easy is that they started at that point, at birth. And through culture patterns and culture patterns and culture patterns reduce. Oh God, I'm so glad you, my God. Way back there, hundreds of thousands of years, stupid men thought that they had to give God some kind of sacrifice, so I'll give you my firstborn. If you don't believe it, if you're not a Christian, get a Christian Bible. It's in there. I used to tell my children, I said, look here. While this dude was asleep, God came to him and says, Joe, do you like me? Yes, God. Prove it to me. Anything. Tomorrow when you wake up, bring your firstborn up to the mountain with your big knife and kill it for me. Yes, God. And I said to my children, you know, this sounds right to me, but if God ever come to y'all one night and tell y'all to do me like that, you better ask God for an army. A little bit different when it switched the other way. And then one day, as the men got a little brighter and straightened up a little bit, guy said, God, I'm not going to give you the whole boy. I'm just going to take the skin off his penis. That's how circumcision started. That's how it started. And from that cop out, not the whole boy, just this skin here, we moved into where we are now. My God. Whew. They got a big job. And Lord, if they can prove that, if they can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that getting you circumcised, I can control you a little bit better, then we got a fight on our hand. If we can get them circumcised, because let me tell you something, I mean, there's a whole lot of hidden research that you have to dig to find. That when you find it, it'll shock you. The conspiracy hierarchy, the story of the Committee of 300. Who wrote this book? Of the British MI6, the British CIA. Wow. Rips off the lid of a group of conspirators who know no national boundaries, who's above all law, country, and controls every aspect of politics, religion, commerce, industry, banking, insurance, mining, and even the drug trade. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll show it to you. Damn Bloods and the Crips. Damn gangs. What page is that? 86. Y'all know about the Bloods and the Crips? All the more gangs that's... I got it marked right there. What's that say?
Gang wars were carefully planned at Stanford.
That's all. At Stanford University. All this crap you looking at now, the great Stanford University. Yes. You remember the ones? Thank you. 3 years ago, they caught them cheating to the tune of $400 million they had to give back to the government, and $800 million was spent on prostitute and whores. The great Stanford University. And that whole damn thing that you went to the movie to see, West Side Story, they talk about it in here. I suspected, but I didn't follow through. West Side Story about some Puerto Rican gang stabbing folks. It wins the Tony and the Academy Award. All that was part of the master trick. Yep. Okay, so y'all go and have fun, but you better have fun quick, baby, because recess just about over. Stanford to deliberately design to shock society and cause ripples of disturbance. By 1958, there were in excess of 200 of those gangs. They were made popular by a musical and a Hollywood movie called West, and they go on and on. And they talk about the stuff they put in your food, all the chemicals. And you stupid enough to go to the store to get a can of carrots and look at the word ingredients. They got 27 other things in it, of which 18 you can't even pronounce, and eat it anyway. Peel a damn white potato, turns brown in your hand while you peeling it. You ever had that happen to you? Then you go to the supermarket and get them all cut up, ready to be French fried, and they snowy white, and you don't even say, well, when I peel them, they turn brown. How do you do that? Because they bleach them with formaldehyde, the same thing they embalm dead folks with. I don't care about you. Serious? You know damn good and well they can make a safe car. If a 9-year-old child can find a hiring man, how come the FBI can't find him? You crazy? And I say to you, they control the mind so bad and so swiftly that you just, I mean, I'm looking at this whole crime thing now. That's a game. It's a game. This federal crime bill that they done scared you with, 3 strikes you out. If that bill went through in the morning, you know the only way it's going to affect you? I'll drag you up to the Grand Canyon and shoot you. That's a federal law. And only 3% of all the crime committed in America, federal crime, 97% of the crimes is state crime, and this crappy law will not cover it. But that's how they manipulate your fear. I knew they manipulated black folks, but I come up in a segregated society. I wasn't around y'all. I didn't know they do to y'all like that too. No, I never heard y'all complaining. I never heard y'all singing "We Shall Overcome." And white ladies, you better learn the song quick. A white woman in America today, with a doctor's degree, 1994, with a doctor's degree, make 56% less than a white male that dropped out of high school. And you don't know the words to "We Shall Overcome"? A white woman that came over on the boat with him, but him, not me, your son, your husband, your boyfriend, your father didn't give you the right to vote till 1920? Every 15 seconds that we've been sitting in here today, a woman had been beat up by her boyfriend or husband. But that's not on the crime bill. Okay? That's not on the crime bill. Every 6 minutes, a woman get raped in America. That's not on the crime bill. But if you women found a way that every 6 minutes you could ram something out our rectum, we'd close this country down, bring the National Guard back home, and wipe you out. We live in this little town, Whoop-a-Doop, Maryland. What's your name, man? Carlin. We ain't never had a woman on the police department. So you go out, you raise hell, and you get to be the first woman on the police department. Got that? That's your partner sitting next to you. He put his hand on your leg. You tell him, don't do that. He put his hand on your breast. You tell him, don't do that. After about 6 months, boom, you blow him away. You go into jail and might get the electric chair. You know that, don't you? All right, let's wipe that out. Make like I didn't even say that. Same little town. Fight to get gays on the police department. Gay sitting next to me, touch my leg. First time, boom, I'm a hero. Hey, you should have killed that faggot. You women think you ain't got a long ways to go. Same act. One's on the way to electric chair, the other one's a hero. In 1994. Huh? Got a big job. Plant the seed. You'd be surprised what's going to happen. Oh, we're going to get 100,000 cops. You know that's in the crime bill, don't you? Y'all aware of that? You know what that means, don't you? It means you find out how many police stations they got in America, and you know it's over 100,000. And they have 3 shifts, and then see how many cops that is per station. Not to mention it's going to take 10 years before they can be good cops. Not to mention the fact that crime for the last 3 years have decreased in America, and they won't even tell you that. Get the June issue of Money magazine. It's not out yet. Outrageous story in there. The crime problem so overblown the stats, and they got you believing drug is running rampant. We ain't got no drug problem there. You know how many people OD'd last year on hard drugs? 4,675 Americans OD'd from hard drugs, and 51% of those ODs was prescription drugs. And 62% of them was over 61, and the over 61 population in America is less than 17%. You know, the number one drug-addicted folks in this country is our elderly folks. These doctors got most of them hooked to 5 and 6 different pills every day, and every one of them got a narcotic base. And if you don't believe it, go take their pills from them. Just for a day. You think these young dudes can act a fool over some dope? Take grandma's pills away. I mean, they just go out. I mean, the young dude needs some dope. He goes steal your television set. That comic, was he funny? That comic, you see him on TV say he used to do crack until he went in his own house and stole his own television. A funny line, because he's running down the steps and see this family picture on the TV. Say, damn, I got him up. Grandma, you hide their pills, they'll put the baby in the oven by mistake instead of the roast. Last year, 23.9% of all the homicides was committed by people that had nothing in their body but whiskey. 9.2% of the homicides was committed by people that had nothing in their body but hard drugs. The chances of us being murdered in America today is 2 to 1. As the person do it, be drunk on whiskey. That's how they scare you. Because these old evil thugs know that a scared nation reacts the same way as a scared person. Your throat get dry, your palms get, you start making irrational decisions, and that's what these thugs got all you going through now, these irrational decisions. The NBC and CBS. Anybody know who owns NBC?
It was RCA.
No, it's General Electric. Who owns RCA? General Electric. 71% of all defense contracts in America goes to General Electric. I'm going to look to them for news. And CBS and ABC isn't any better. They're owned by the same warmongering thugs. So these are the ones that tell me that crime is running rampant, but when I get my own stats, a person's murdered every 22 minutes, rape every 4 minutes, robbery every 26 minutes, and yet as horrible as that sound, what they won't tell you is you safer from violent crimes than you think. When you don't look at NBC and CBS and go to the federal statistics, and then you start seeing that more than 90% of Americans are safer today than they were 2 decades ago. But the FBI's most recent figures show that 1% drop in violent crimes in 1993, and yet still 9 out of every 10 people in America with violent crimes dropping believe that 90% of Americans believe they're more in danger today. That crime's at an all-time high. 77% of people believe that violent crime will happen to them, but according to the National Crime Victimization Survey Bureau of the Justice Department, shows the chances of becoming a victim is 32.1 per 100,000, down about 9%. In 1981, it was 35.3 per 100,000. It's dropping. But they know they can keep you afraid and keep you going, and as long as we got to go to them hoodlum thug pimps for our information, you're in trouble. So I say to you, you got a big job. Big job. They'll take your very words and change it. 30 years ago, last year, I was in Washington, D.C., right down the street from here with Martin Luther King. The March on Washington. And 6 weeks later, they started telling y'all what happened. I thought I was at the wrong march. Y'all heard it, haven't you? I got a dream that one day little black children, little white children, it ain't got nothing to do with the color of your skin, but the contents of your character. That's not what that meeting was about, and that's not what King was talking about. That's how King ended his speech. Take your time and listen. Y'all need to go get King's whole speech and see what they did to him and see what they're going to do to you. About 600,000 people came here, not to listen to somebody tell us about some damn dream, about no conscience of this. He came here and said to us and to America at the Lincoln Monument, he said, we come here to talk about the Emancipation Proclamation. You never hear him talk about that. We come here to talk about the Declaration of Independence, the United States Constitution. We come here to talk about a check that we cashed and it bounced. We come here to talk about this insufficient funds. That's what that speech was about. But it's never reflected when they changed it around and put it out real comfortable, and all over the world, all the people hear about is he had a dream. That's why you have to be out here and keep doing it over and over and over and over. And there's a universal God that'll reward you. It's a good service. I don't know where we go when we go from here, but wherever you go, they don't count your education or your money. If it worked, you wouldn't have died. There's a ledger somewhere, and all it says in there is how much service did you give your brother, sister, human beings when you was on this planet. And this movement that we're talking about now is about service. Don't get tired on me. Don't let them make you mad. There's a God force that say you are not responsible for the conditions that people impose on you. It's a racist system. I'm not responsible for those conditions, but I am held responsible to my God, to how I react and what my attitude is to those conditions. Yep. And so I say to you tonight, y'all got a big job here. Y'all got to go out and deal with this misinformation. And they can take just a normal fact. 1 out of every 3 black men in America is in jail or some type of supervision. Y'all heard that, right? But as a black father, 10 black children, I heard it different. It said 3 out of every 4 black men has never seen the inside of a police car. And then when you look at those stats, 80% of the black folks is in jail now, not for selling drugs, but using them. Because in our society, if this is my son here and I make good money and got good insurance, and this is your son here and you ain't got no job, and both of them get busted tonight for using drugs, if my insurance will pay for his treatment, he goes to treatment. If you don't have none, he goes to jail. That's why our numbers have. Don't you ever let nobody tell you to this day that black folks is more violent than white folks. And if you think we are, find me a Hitler. And when you look at all that crap over there in Rwanda, the next time you see them pictures, notice something strange about them pictures. You see no blood. You see no wounds. And when you see them in those rivers, the river ain't red. They on their belly, bloated up just like Jonestown, okay? In 40 years, the truth will come out. Now they're telling us that Lindbergh had his son killed, all right? Because he was mentally retarded and he didn't want that to... we always come out with crap 40 years, 50 years later. Y'all go look. See, I know something about Africa that most of y'all don't know. All the ammunition and all the armies in Africa is trained and controlled by white folks. That's why did it strike you as funny that there's not one African country with an air force? Because the white folks are scared they might slip over and bomb Europe. And let me tell you something else, and just trust me. There ain't an army in Africa that they give enough ammunition to that can kill 200,000 people, okay? Because when I give them to them, I still got to worry about them turning on me, okay? I cannot tell you what's going on over there. I tell you, take your own eyes when you start looking at them pictures from here on in. And those of you that's been in the military, you know something about military. That anytime you're doing a military operation, you wound more than you kill. And if they've killed 200,000, we should be looking at 800,000 wounded folks. And there should be demands for blood coming from all over the world. Ain't no demands gone out. Okay? And y'all better start waking up and using your own brain, because there's a whole lot of people out here now that's going to quit thinking for y'all. Because this thing is getting close to home now. Oh, violence, drive-by shootings. I can't come out the house. The number 1 killer of Americans, 400,000 Americans die each year from smoking cigarettes. That represents 19% of all the deaths. The number 2 killer, 300,000 people, 14% of the deaths, bad diet and inactivity. The number 3 killer is alcohol, 100,000 people, 5%. What about drive-by shootings? Illegal dope. Illegal dope is 1%, and firearms is 2%. So while Americans is locked in the house, scared to come out, they're going to get me, especially them black folks in the ghetto. I'm just so scared to come out. They're in the house smoking cigarettes, and eating barbecue ribs, and not doing no exercise, and drinking whiskey. They're participating in the top 3 killers while they're waiting on a drive-by shooting. Big debate. How much progress? You hear black folk debate. We ain't made no progress. No, come on. Are you serious? I was there. 30 years ago, this system changed my dollar for 32 cents, and it changed white folks' dollar for 98 cents. And now 30 years later, I'm getting 98 cents for a dollar, and you getting 99. You ain't made no progress. I moved from 32 to 98. You moved from 98 to 99. I'm the progress. But thank God I've been blessed. I don't have to pick up the New York Times or the Washington Post or the Baltimore Sun to find out about my program. I got a direct connection, and I can see it and I can feel it. Progress. The black family, check my family out. The whole world ought to look at the black family in America. Not one of us have ever stole another human being and enslaved them. Let's talk about criminals one day. The black family, somebody stole me, brought me over here, and dropped my mama off in Jamaica, dropped my daddy off in Mississippi, and dropped the children off in Louisiana. And now 1994, my family's intact. Think about where you would be if you came through that. Family, we don't bring no drugs in the country. We ain't making no ammunition that's killing folks. My family. Let me tell you about my family. That black woman in the slave tent that found out she was pregnant and fell on her knees and said, God, I'm pregnant. Give me this baby born maladjusted. Give me this baby born with a limb missing. You know what that's like for a mother to pray to God for a baby to be maladjusted, a limb missing? You see, God, I'm dealing with a system so bad, if you give me a baby like that, they can't sell it. I get to keep it all my life. You tell me about the family? Black folks die 10 years younger in America than white folks, and me with all of my money and my sophisticated education, I got to look 100 deaf years in the face with my 10 children that are redneck, hillbilly, can't read, can't write, cracker, don't have to look in the face, and you tell me about family? And yet we don't reflect it. People hate you all over the world, and they get treated better than me. Damn Russians trying to blow you away, and you still running, give them your money. Call a big spy, giving them everything, and we still giving them the money, and the whole world looking at you saying, what kind of fool is you? You must be circumcised. So I leave you tonight, and I say to you, them stats they run down, what they haven't told you since 1967, high school graduation among black folks, 18 to 24, have increased from 56% to 76%. Ain't nobody in the history of the planet made that type of progress in 30 years. You serious? From the early 1970s to 1990, black students have made fantastic, significant progress in math and reading tests. When they throw me with the whole. But nobody's made the progress I have made. Black males between 25 and 29 years of age who have completed 4 or more years of college have tripled since 1967. And they keep telling y'all, and it works, I mean, it works on black folks, they just is knocked out. They keep telling y'all about black high school dropout. I tell you what, I can't cheat. Every black college in America have so many black students in them, they build in dormitories. And Washington, D.C., Howard got 300 of them in hotels. And every white college in America have more black students than they ever had in the history. How come they just keep telling me about dropouts? Where are these black students coming from that's filling up these college campuses? Yeah, we're a violent nation. That's why what you're doing is so important, because maybe we can trace that violence and hostility back to clipping that murder committed in America by handguns, average 9,315. The next country to us is Switzerland, 53. Sweden, 19, is number 3. Canada, our neighbors, 8. United Kingdom's 5, number 7. Japan, 6. They had 1 homicide by hand. I don't know how many axe murders they had last year. There are more homicides committed in America by friends and family members. There are more homicides caused over arguments in America than robbery. Information, safe sex. Every time I go to Hollywood, I rub it in their face. I'm out there now doing a movie. And every time I see my stars, I show this to them. Y'all see them on TV? All of them wearing it? But when they get ready to make a movie, they take all their clothes off, and you see some of the most perverted sex you've ever seen in your life. The same people that's wearing this will get in a movie and do just the opposite. Have you ever seen one say, I need a condom, or because of AIDS, I don't want to have sex? What kind of fools are you? No, take that crap off and reflect it in the movie. All y'all wearing this out there, and the movies get raunchier and nastier with that on. What's wrong? Somewhere. I never will forget, I was half asleep when I heard him say, safe sex is with a condom. I thought he said condo. And I said to my wife, aren't you glad we just bought 2? She said, no. He said, condom. You mean rubber? Prophylactic. Oh, I ain't never bought one, ain't never used one, and never. They too demeaning. One size fits all. Safe sex is no sex. If you're scared. And those rubbers you wear, they got holes in them. All rubbers have holes in them. You can't see it with the naked eye, but if you put it under a magnifying glass and you see the hole, then you look at the number, it's 5, which means all holes in condoms is called 5 microbes. HIV is 1 microbe. I know that, and these scientists don't know that. Come on now. Or who's playing with who? Or do they put it in the rubbers? What's this game about? You should have known something when they told you we have a neutron bomb that kills people but leave buildings standing. I don't know nothing about science, so I called my scientific friend at MIT. I said, hey man, if somebody dropped a neutron bomb on this hotel I'm in, how long it is before I can go in? He said, about 1,000 years. And that's when I knew then they were talking about germs. Because why would I drop a bomb on something to kill you that I can't go into for 1,000 years? Huh? So violent. And while they got everybody looking at violence in the ghetto, I keep reading my white papers. Share this with you. We get out of here. USA Today. Monday, October the 18th, 1993. Survey, homicide at the workplace on the rise. Workplace homicide is the fastest growing type of murder in America. What? I thought you said it was in the ghetto. And 41% of everybody get murdered on the job are women. And for every one person to get murdered on the job, 12 others commit suicide. They didn't stop there, they kept coming. USA Today, January the 31st, 1994. Study pattern of violence. A new federal survey shows that more than 2.5 million females aged 12 and over are victims of violent crime each year, 2/3 at the hands of friends or family members. Y'all onto something. We might can trace this all the way back to clipping that penis. This one was so sad. This one just came out Wednesday, May the 4th, the Wednesday before Mother's Day, and they talked about violence against women. Horrible. Every year, roughly 1 in 100 women aged 50 to 64 becomes a victim of violent crime. Twice as many over 65-year-old women are mugged near or by their house than younger women, and 3/4 of these happen in the daytime. The murder rate for women over 65 and over increased 30% in the period from 1974 to 1990, while the murder rate for men in the same age bracket had decreased 6% among older women living in institutions. Nearly 400,000 are victims of physical sexual crime. 400,000 women every year in mental hospitals and jails and old folk home is victims of sexual crime. This thing's getting out of hand. Somewhere, I say to you, I'll leave you, we can make a difference. Just stop lying. USA Today, say May the 4th, alcohol
alcohol is a major cause of crime, might be the major contributing factor to crime. Alcohol is a factor in 68% of manslaughter, 62% of assaults, 54% of murders and attempt murders, 48% of robberies, and 44% of all burglaries. And they go on to list alcohol, 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 while we all looking at dope. Damn teenage pregnancies, black folks, Hispanics. Detroit Free Press. The sad part, I got to read 40 newspapers a day just to catch the real information. Detroit Free Press, Monday, February the 1st, 1993. Teenage pregnancy, and they got real nasty. They got a picture of this Hispanic girl holding a little baby. They got a picture of this teenage black girl, but if you read it, you see something different. Nationally, a 31% increase in white teenage pregnancy and a 7% decrease in black teenage pregnancy, but they're not telling us that. And then pick up the Boston Globe this year, Monday, January the 3rd, 1994, front page picture, sharp rise in birth of unmarried white, still welfare worries. The number of unmarried white women giving birth have soared by 50% over a 6-year period, raising fears among academia and government officials that the resulting growth in the white underclass could cripple the whole entire federal welfare system. Now, why am I taking your time to read this to you? Because the same thing they do unto us, as your movement pick up, they'll do to you. The white teenage pregnancy far outstrips black teenage pregnancy, because that's the way they give it, because they can control it and manipulate it. The riots in Los Angeles, I kept looking there. I kept going out there and said, wait a minute, I didn't see no Molotov cocktails used. Matter of fact, if you looked at those riots, the first 5 hours, there were no fires. And if you go to all the jails and penitentiaries in America, there ain't 3 black folk, men, that's in jail for arson. We can't do arson. We just don't know how to set fires. If you don't believe it, be around us on 4th of July when we barbecue it. And after the fires was out, they haven't had an arson investigation yet. And when all them white folks' homes was on fire 6 months ago, we saw them helicopters go out to the ocean with them long cables. Y'all see that? And go get that water and put the fire out, and nobody have enough integrity to say, why didn't y'all use them same helicopters during the riot, since y'all know how to put fires out? Or was those fires that had to happen? Or was it more to that than you telling us? New York Times, I want y'all to hear this good now. New York Times, Sunday, May the 10th, 1992. Los Angeles police differ sharply with prosecutor on arrest total. Police officials said today that they arrested 18,213 people from Wednesday night, April the 29th, the day the riots began, through this morning. But the prosecutors say we cannot account for as many as 10,000 of those folks. We don't know where they are. Now, I'm not going to get into no detail. This is a New York Times story about 18,000 black folks arrested, but they can't account for but 8,000. It's that same Nazi thing. And then one day you'll find out what some of us know now. They put them on trains and ship them to Coos Bay, Oregon, and they do something to them. We think it's organ transplants. We don't know yet, but we're working on it. But the New York Times has said 10,000 can't be found, and nobody ever did a follow-up story. And 2 people snooped around, one of them was dead. There's a whole lots of people out here that's trying to say we can make a difference. So I leave you today and I say to you, good luck. See? Can y'all see that? Can y'all see? What's it say? Harper's Magazine? Can you see from back there? Can you see paratroopers? Here, good look. See the paratroopers? Yes. See them falling? That's about cool. What's that say over there in that orange?
Seizing Arab oil. The case for U.S. intervention. Why, how, and where?
Now listen, Harper's Magazine, your front page story on... Now you remember, we were upset in the black community, a lot of white folks, because Bush started the war on Martin Luther King's birthday. Y'all remember? January 15, 1991. That's a front page story. Harper's. What does that say again down there?
Seizing Arab oil. The case for U.S. intervention. Why, how, where?
What's the date on that book?
March 1975.
March 1975, they did a front page story in Harper's Magazine of what they was going to do in America, suck enough to send their children on a trick that was put on the front page. And I just take your time to show y'all, since everybody seemed too busy in America thinking about how free and it's the greatest country in the history of the planet, we do stuff in this country that would make Hitler blush. And then y'all going to get involved in this movement and you're going to find it out. And if you're scared and you can't stand up to it and you really ain't into your God, then maybe y'all better get out now. Because we're going to win it. It's evidence we're going to win it that you here. Look at the empty chairs. We can fill them up. You serious? We fill them up. All we had to do was bring the Rolling Stones, who ain't talking about nothing. Who ain't nothing they ever put out spiritual or godly or gonna save humanity in no shape, form, or fashion, but a handful of you all is more than all the Rolling Stones and every other of them damn records that's ever put out. Know your power. One person with courage is the majority. What do they say? Ordinary people is changed by the system, but unordinary people changes systems. See, y'all unordinary. It's my FBI report. Swear to you, never smoked a reefer in my life. Never did no drugs, but there's a reason. See, I was smoking 4 packs of cigarettes and 5 of scotch a day. Probably wasn't no room for nothing else. But I went the whole route, 365 pounds. I got out there. Never owned a gun in my life. Never committed a crime in my life. FBI report. Went to 8 of the most powerful FBI agents in the Bureau. February the 5th, 1965. Subject, assassination of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. November the 22nd, 1963, Dallas, Texas, miscellaneous information concerning Dick Gregory. Damn, what am I doing in FBI's top secret Kennedy assassination? All I ever said about it was the FBI, the CIA, and the Mafia shot him. Gregory's background. Bureau files indicate Gregory in the past have supported the black Muslims. Thank God I didn't join them. Injected himself into the racial movement. Injected. Espouses causes and individuals closely associated with the communist movement. They could really scare white folks with that one. And they got to get a new scare tactic, white folks. Since the communist thing don't work, what's going to be the next one? See why the crime thing? They got to put y'all behind something. They control white folk by keeping them scared. We don't have a communist behind every tree now, so now we're going to put a criminal behind it. April 23rd, 1963. I lived in Chicago then. Chicago Commerce, Office of Origin of Richard Claxton Gregory. They would come out from the director, and Hoover was so sure this stuff would never get out, he put his serial number on. I played a lottery with it every day. I hit once. Chicago, As Office of Origin, Richard Claxton Gregory, also known as Dick Gregory, Chicago should develop counterintelligence measures to neutralize him. Neutralize me. Neutralize me. That's their code word for murder. This should not be done in the nature of an expose, since he already gets far too much publicity. Instead, sophisticated, completely untraceable means of neutralizing Dick Gregory should be developed. And I've never committed a criminal act in my life. And one of the mightiest police forces ever put together in the history of this planet with my tax money came after me. But they bumped into my God. Not hatred. If the God I pray to every day can't protect me against slime and filth, then I'm praying to the wrong God. So they start saying, you crazy, but you got some children you like. I said, if you ever get one of my children, you better do one or two things. You better get them, kill them quick, or get you a book and teach you how to raise little black children. Because if you get one of mine, you can have the movement's bigger than me, it's bigger than my wife, it's bigger than my children, it's bigger than my family. I never made a decision based on how will this affect my career. It was always how will my career affect my participation in the human rights movement. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. And when they couldn't win, And when they couldn't win, they kept trying, and Hoover finally put this one out. May the 15, 1968, from the director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, to the Chicago Bureau concerning a speech by Gregory on April the 28th, 1968, where he noted that syndicate hoodlums are living all over. I thought the FBI knew that. They are the filthiest snakes that exist on this earth. I call the mafia syndicate hoodlums filthy snakes. Here's Hoover's second paragraph to the Chicago Bureau. Consider the use of this statement in developing counterintelligence operations to alert La Cosa Nostra to Dick Gregory's attack on them. So guys say, well, what you gonna do with it? I gave it to the Chicago Tribune. They did a front page story. FBI memo, use mob against Dick Gregory. And with that, we started the investigation. And it was me and Mark Lane's book, Codename Zorro, that forced the Kennedy King assassination investigation, because they was messing with the wrong person. They was messing with somebody that you can't scare, that ain't gonna use no filth, that ain't gonna use no craziness. And so I say to you tonight, thank God for you. And whether y'all know it or not, y'all picked the right time for battle. Because something happened April the 23rd of last year. This planet will never be the same. Stanford and Yale with their multi-billion-dollar computers, they saw them two suns up there, Cyrus A and Cyrus B, that those Africans, the Dugons, been talking about for 3,000 years, and they still don't know how they could see, would know where they see, because when the babies are born, they're born in caves, and they never let them come out in the daytime, and when they come out at night, which never had no light, they can see straight up there. And just trust me, because you'll feel something in a few minutes, a couple of days. Cyrus A and Cyrus B at 3:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on April the 23rd of this year, Cyrus A and Cyrus B aligned itself with Pluto, Earth, and Neptune, and that alignment haven't happened in 90,000 years. Okay. And that day, all the way up to June the 15th, there's an energy flowing into us that's doing the same thing to us that God do when they pollinate plants. It's like somebody put $100 trillion in your bank account. Sad you don't know it, but that's what have happened. And so you picked your battle at the right time. And then get ready for July the 16th, when them 21 rocks, and they won't tell you why it's 21 rocks, because 2 years ago they hit it with a nuclear warhead. Okay. And now there's 21 rocks. And the largest nuclear explosion we've ever had on this planet was the Russians did in 1961, 58 megatons. This one on the 16th of July is 20 million megaton blast. And they don't know how it's going to affect this planet. But it's so nice to see something that them arrogant dogs can shoot at and intimidate and threaten. And then on May the 5th, the year 2000, that's when they all line up for the first time in 6,000 years. And the last time that happened, the planet used to go this way. Y'all know about that? And one of the biggest things going on now that they don't want to talk about is down at the North Pole, while we sitting here, is the ice is building up 2.5 billion tons per day. And they have got so sophisticated technology, they know the exact day it's going to pop. We got 6 years. Okay. And if you ever had a spinning top, if you haven't get one, and when you notice it, when it slows up, it wobble. Well, the ice is building up, this planet is wobbling. That's why the weather pattern is gone crazy. So there's great energy coming out now. And if you didn't understand what happened on the 23rd, you don't have to, you'll see it. But you notice something happened right after that that never happened before. The President of the United States sent for 572 Indian chiefs to come to the White House, and he demanded and made sure that every one of his cabinet members, even the ones that was overseas, had to fly back for that meeting. It's some serious stuff going on this planet now. And if you don't believe it, just hang around for a few days. And so I leave you tonight and I say to you, I don't know no movement. I mean, even after we liberate all black folks around the planet, that don't stop violence. Maybe this is the answer to violence, that little thing that we doing to these little children. And if I had some place to start and had all the money and all the power, I would start where you starting right now. And so I come and I thank you. You don't need to work hard while you're here. You need to network while you're here. When you go back to where you come from, get a lot of rest, because it's a hell of a thing out here battling this system when you're tired. And don't come out here running a popularity contest. This is bigger than that. Bigger, bigger, bigger. See, it's okay to stop a Hitler after they get started, after they can kill millions of people, but what you on to, we might can stop one before it's born. What a marvelous feeling. And so again, I beg you, those of you that haven't been to the literature room, go in there. Go in there. You have to arm yourself when you're in one of these battles with information, with data. They're still going to come after you, but there's a whole lot of people out there. You just keep bombarding them and keep bombarding them, and it happens. And then you got to look and see how much money, if all circumcision stopped in the morning, how would that affect hospitals? And then you know what the fight is about. I'm willing to do like we do the farmers. Pay them not to cut. Pay them not to cut. Push a federal bill through and pay them the same thing they do for circumcision, just to cut the skin off a potato. Same thing. Because you got to watch them. Cows give so much milk, we spend billions of dollars of taxpayers' money buying milk, throwing it away, giving it to jails, giving it away for free, and yet you let them tell you they're going to put a hormone into a cow to increase that 20% and don't realize they're putting to fix something in that cow that's going to kill you. Out of all the scientific data we got, they genetically are making a tomato? Shit, make me a foot. You serious? Out of all the things we need, a tomato ain't one of them. So all they did for me, they fixed it so I'll never eat another tomato because I don't have the sophisticated to know what a genetic one look like, so y'all can keep them tomatoes. I know you don't love me enough to spend some money to bring something to me, so keep it. And so I leave you and I say to you, I thank you all for being here. I love you. Keep me in your prayers, and I will keep you in mind. And it's going to be a fun job. It's not nothing to be afraid of, just a lot of hard work. And I guarantee you, in the not too distant future, you will see the fruits of your work. And what a feeling. I love you. God bless you. Peace be with you.